What's good, Ravens fans? It's your boy JG, and we are back with Ravens Space versus Reddit. But this is not really Reddit, this is the internet. Basically, I searched the internet, look for some cool things to talk to you guys about, news, all that good stuff. Please subscribe, get us to 5,000 subs. We are on the road there. I'm super excited about that. All right, so let's get into it. Today, we're going to talk about offensive coordinators. Which offensive coordinators the Ravens are going to bring in? We have the finalists. Let's see the list here. All right, we're going to go down to the first one is Brian, Angelicio, Minnesota Vikings passing game coordinator and tight ends coach. So now, first thing I want to say is that I think this is an interesting pick here. The reason I say that is because even though the Vikings passing game is good, the Vikings have studs. They have studs on the passing game. And of course, Justin Jefferson's the first one that you have to mention. And then you have to say, okay, and this is something that we have to talk about with all players, right? How much of it is Justin Jefferson versus how much of it is Brian Angelicio, right? The good thing about Brian Angelicio is that when you have a play like Justin Jefferson, your track record jumps off of the screen. Now, but one thing I will be cautious though is that this fits a little bit too much into what the Ravens currently do. And the reason I say that is because of this part here. Tight ends coach. Okay? You see, tight ends coach. It means that the Ravens, I think he might be one of the people who have the inside position because he understands the importance of a tight end, obviously, and he has exactly what the Ravens are looking for: passing game coordinator, tight ends coach. Again, the Vikings have a lot of good players at the receiver, and then they added a good tight end at the end of the year. So how much is it them, and how much is it him? But that's the first person. It's just going to be complicated, right? And so, did he build the offense? That's the question. We want people who can build an offense. And this is going to be his first chance building an offense. He lacks play calling experience, which is something that I want a person who's called plays before, to be honest with you. That's what I want, but we'll see what the other candidates have. All right, so we have the Seattle Seahawks quarterbacks coach, Dave Canal. Again, I'm sorry if I mispronounced the name. Again, another one that lacks play calling experience. You see this here? Play calling experience. Now, there's two things I will say though about him. He has something that the other guy, Brian Angelicio, does not have. He was a quarterbacks coach for Geno Smith and for Russell Wilson. What happened to Russell Wilson when he left him? Russell Wilson was trash. Okay, so Dave has some benefit there, right? Before you left, you were good. After you left, you were bad. Okay? Geno Smith, before you came, you were bad. When you got here, you were good. Honestly, that's enough for me to say, okay, he had a big role in making that happen. That's for me anyway. I think that's enough. Maybe not for you guys, but for me, that's enough. So I do like that, and I would actually give him the edge over Brian just because of that. Now, again, the play calling experience is something I'm not happy about, but the improvement of the quarterbacks is something that you have to love. Okay. All right. So here we got Bobby Ingram. Again, another good thing is that he was under the Ravens banner. And when I say a good thing, that means that the good thing is that he was the guy that's in the Ravens system. John Harbaugh is going to like him. John Harbaugh is going to respect him already. And John Harbaugh is going to, we've seen what John Harbaugh did with the defensive coordinator, right? John Harbaugh is going to say, hey, he's a Raven. He knows the Raven way. I can work with him, this and that. Because, we've seen it happen in the past where coaches hire coordinators and there's just friction there. The coach gets fired and then the coordinator takes the job. We've seen it happen in Cleveland a couple of times. So we'll see about that. But he has that familiarity, which is good for John Harbaugh and how John Harbaugh likes to pick coaches. Obviously. Again, Wisconsin's offensive coordinator, which is super good. Two things that I don't like. One is that he was the wide receivers coach in our team when we didn't have good wide receivers. However, though, he did become the tight ends coach and did develop tight ends and fullbacks, which is a good thing. So those kind of cancel each other out for me. Now, what he lacks again is play calling success. If you're not, look, guys, and this is why he cancels out. And so this is why Bobby Ingram cancels out for me. If you weren't good at calling plays in college, I don't know if you can call plays for me in the NFL. I just don't know. I'm just not there. I'm not there. And you gotta prove it to me. I like Bobby, but for me, he's a no. Just because if you're average in college, I'm expecting you to be great in the NFL, and I'm looking for greatness, not just average. Okay. All right. So next we have Todd Monken, Georgia offensive coordinator. He's successful. He's successful as offensive coordinator in college. The issue for me, guys, though, is college. College is just so much different than NFL. But when you look into the stats like this site did, shout out to this site, they use 12 personnel, which the Ravens love using. So they use, 2 tight ends a lot. This is an NFL scheme they run in Georgia. That's an NFL scheme they run in Georgia. And they've been successful with it. And they've out-NFL'd Alabama, which is a big deal, big deal. So I will say that I'm not mad at that. What he lacks is goodwill in Cleveland. I don't know what this means. Freddie Kitchens was calling the play. That's not on him. But again, they say that, he was scheming and all that stuff. Okay, that's bad, but let the man call plays if he's the offensive coordinator, and he won't do that. So again, not 100% opposed. I was earlier just because of the college thing. I did want an NFL guy, but this is a coordinator job, right? So you're usually only going to get position coaches, fire coordinators, and then college guys. So it is what it is. I don't even really want to talk about this one, just because the Denver Broncos. The Kyle Shanahan factor, though, does matter. It does matter. And you can just see Kyle Shanahan, great team. Matt LaFleur was an okay team this year for the Packers, but has been a great team in the past. Sean McVay, great team. Bad this season, but overall, great team. Mike McDaniels in Miami. I mean, was Zach Taylor a part of that crew? Or I think he was a part of that crew. Oh, it says it right here, I'm sorry. Okay, he was with McVay. That crew has success. Zach Taylor from the Bengals, they have success. And honestly, that to me, that is enough to make me afraid to miss out on him. But the reason that I would just say is that you had a bad year. Now, did you have a bad year because of Russell Wilson? That's hard for me to decide. But I would think about it. But this is the guy I think, this is the big fish. This is the big fish. Eric Bieniemy is a head coach level candidate. Now, does that mean you only have him for a year, 2 or 3? Maybe. But the truth is that guys like this, Justin Outen, maybe not Todd, he's done too good for me to say that about him. Bobby Ingram, Dave Cannons, and Brian Angelicio. Sorry, I'm killing his name. I'm sorry, sir. I do respect you. I'm just not good at names. Let me say it again. I don't want you to be offended. I'm sorry. And they are here every season. You can find guys like all the candidates, like these other candidates. Let me stop them. You can find guys like these other candidates every year. You are not going to find an offensive coordinator like Eric Bieniemy every year. If he is really a candidate, it's a sideways step, which sucks for him. But he needs to be able to separate from Patrick Mahomes and Reed in order to be seen as the guy running the offense. If Eric Bieniemy can come over as our offensive coordinator, this is the decision you have to do. This is the decision you have to make. Again, this is it. Now, they say that he's a candidate for other jobs. This is what I would tell him. This is what I would say to him. I would say, Eric, we will leave this position open. Okay? I'm sorry to tell you guys here, but Todd and Justin and all these, they're going to be here in a month. They're going to be here in a month. Eric, you go talk to these other teams that you're going for offensive head coach for head coach. And then you come back and you talk to us. If you don't get a job there, we're here. We'll pay you more than an average offensive coordinator, and you you can build this offense in your vision. The big issue that he's gonna have though is that what happens when you don't have Lamar Jackson? I don't want to talk about that, but Eric comes to you and he's gonna say, okay, you're gonna have Lamar Jackson. Why would I leave Kansas City to coach Tyler Huntley? That's a real thing. He's my number one choice though. He's my number one choice. And the last option here is Brian Johnson, quarterback coach for the Eagles. I think this is a great choice as well. Success does matter. He's worked with Dak Prescott. Okay, he's worked with Jalen Hurts. Two quarterbacks that are lesser versions. And my bad, guys. Let me put this on the screen for you guys to see. These guys are lesser versions than Lamar Jackson. If we can scoop him up, that would be a great get. I think he is right now my second or third choice. Let me just do a quick view here. Okay, yeah. So if I had to choose, my top three would be Eric Bieniemy at number one. He would be the guy that I think is the best option for us. Number two would be Brian Johnson, just because of his success there. And again, Super Bowl matters, right? Super Bowl matters. My third choice would be a tie between Todd Monken and Ryan Finalist, just because, again, the what I've seen between Russell Wilson and Geno Smith is one thing, right, that you have to take into account. But also, Todd Monken is a successful offensive coordinator at the best program in college football. That does matter. It's just the college football thing. But I think actually I'm gonna take him three. But it could jump up to two depending on how, tomorrow, how I feel. But I do think that Brian Johnson deserves to have his name in the top three for sure. So that's what I think. Everybody give me number one. If you can get him, go get him. You guys let me know what you think in the comments below. I appreciate you guys. Thanks, and go Ravens.